Ausmex Mining is focused on high-grade gold, copper and cobalt projects. Would you please welcome Managing Director of Ausmex Mining, Matt Morgan.
Thanks. Ausmex, we're a junior, relisted June last year. We've been active in the field for the last 9 months. We've done a lot of work in Queensland. We've done a lot of work in South Australia. We think we're exciting. We've got gold, we've got cobalt and we've got copper. We've got 2 big targets, one in Cloncurry. We've got over 2 kilometre open cut extensions that we believe feeding out of a large IOCG system. Yeah, I've got it down the bottom here. And then we've got a very large target. I think it's, here we go, great. Beautiful, great. Who are we? There's some names there you might be familiar with. Let's see if that, oh no, haven't got the laser, it's backwards. Anyway, Matt Morgan, MD, Yossi Goldberg, we're an experienced team. We've worked before, we've had success before. And we're focused on money in the ground. We run a tight ship and we like what we do. Great. Ausmex, why invest in Ausmex? What have we got? We offer world-class exposure in elephant country. We've got 2 major mineral provinces. We've got the Mount Isa Inlayer up the top in Queensland. We've got something called the G2 Structural Corridor. You mightn't be familiar with the G2 Structural Corridor, but it hosts some big projects, Olympic Dam, Prominent Hill, Carrapateena. We've got big targets in both of these areas. We've got good ground in these areas and we've had success in this area. We've got a large suite of prospects we've identified. 2 we're going to focus on, I'll touch base on those in the end. And as well, which we believe is quite unique for a junior, we've got some near-term cash flow, we've got some near-term production projects on granted mining leases. We've got a reasonably large gold project and 2 copper projects. We won't process them. They're in Cloncurry, Queensland. There's plenty of spare processing capacity. That's what invited us to that Mount Isa Inlay in Cloncurry. Quick, let's see how this goes. Great, okay. Bit hard for me to see because I'm long and short-sighted. Cloncurry, what we've got, as I mentioned, we've had instant success. We've been there about 9 months. We've identified that we've got plenty of projects. What we've been focusing on and focusing in the future, we've got 3 near-term production projects I just mentioned before. Gilded Rose, high-grade gold. The Trump, high-grade copper. The Trump was named the Trump in the 30s before we picked it up. All granted mining leases. The Answer, high-grade copper. What we will be focusing on, I'll finish on in half of this presentation, Cloncurry, it's the Mount Freda complex. Mount Freda is a granted mining lease. We've done some geophysics, we've done some drilling. We've got some large targets. We believe it extends about 2 kilometres into a surrounding EPM. We believe it's fed by a large IOCG system. We've got gold, we've got copper and we've got cobalt. Historic resources there, I'll touch on those as well too. There was a historic £1 million cobalt resource under the Mount Freda open cut. Great, okay. Just touching on base on the spare processing capacity, what we've got in Cloncurry and what attracted us to the Mount Isa Inlay and Cloncurry itself. Just a quick summary on me, I'm ex-BHP iron ore. In the 90s we kicked off something in iron ore called the satellite mining operations. We wanted to maximise unutilised processing capacity. I went to Cloncurry and I saw the same thing. We've got Rocklands, we've got the Great Australian owned by Copperchem, Sol Patterson's. We've got Lorena, we've got Eloise, we've got Mount Doran, owned by Shinova Resources to the south. We've got Ernest Henry, all producers, all with spare capacity, all looking for additional ore sources. We've got additional ore sources that we can toll treat or JV. And that's what we're looking at to continue feed our organic exploration, organic cash flow. Okay, I'll just touch base on one of our gold projects. It's not our lead gold project, but it's a good gold project. Shame our laser won't work, but I've got a highlighted here. It's the Gilded Rose gold project in yellow, you can see up the top there. It's 8 kilometres as the crow flies from the Lorena gold plant. Lorena is owned by Malachite Resources. They've just finished building and commissioning a 250,000 tonne per annum CIP plant. They've got about 9 months of mining and ore processing. They're looking for additional ore sources. As well, you can see the Great Australian, based in Cloncurry, owned by Copperchem, a subsidiary of Sol Patterson's. They've just finished commissioning a 650 tonne per annum CIP plant at the Great Australian. And to commission it, they've bought off us a 200,000 tonne stockpile from Mount Freda. They've bought that off us recently for $2.5 million to run through the plant. So good neighbours, good neighbourhood, plenty of capacity. Gilded Rose had a current 04 JORC resource done in 11 under the 04 guidelines. It's around 20,000 ounces of gold at 4 grams underneath the the current open cut. We've done some drilling underneath. We've actually got some consultants modelling at the moment. I envisaged a minimum of inferred and indicated resources by mid-June. Indicated resources, I can establish probable mining reserves. So it's a good project. It's high grade, historically up to 46 grams. We've got drill hole intersections up to 22 grams. We like it, and it's got the potential to generate significant cash flow. It's shallow. We won't be building any infrastructure. And I envisaged something around 30,000 ounces just underneath the open cut. It's got a big exploration target came with it as well too. When we relisted in June, our independent expert had a 500,000 ounce exploration target along at a 1.5k outcrop of underground workings and historic high grade. So plenty of upside, not our lead project in Cloncurry. I just want to quickly touch base on our 2 copper projects. We've got one down to the south of Cloncurry, the Trump, as you mentioned. We've released these results before. Granted mining lease, about 20 hectares, no infrastructure in place, but it's a granted mining lease. We can start production pretty quickly. It's in a good area. We've got 3 or 4 current producers looking for oxides and sulphides within 40 k's. We can truck this, 11 cents per tonne per k to truck something. We've got some great intersections from surface, 60 metres at 1.3% copper, one of our drill holes. It's not a lot of drilling to get this up to a JORC resource. We envisage doing a couple of 100 metres on each of these projects. I've got the answer to run through next to get this up to a JORC resource by October. But what I like about this, low acid consumption, outcrop on the surface, 20, 30, 40 k's to different multiple producers. I can envisage 1 million plus tonnes at 1% copper out of this on one of the near neighbours' heap leach pads, which can generate a lot of cash. So we've got 2 of these, good cash flow coming in the future. The same again, this is a project called the Answer. It's to the south of Cloncurry. It's in a very good neighbourhood. It's 20 kilometres from Shenova Resources, who own Mount Dore. Mount Dore's got a 10 million plus heap leach facility looking for additional ore sources. They actually own the Ausmex as well too. It's got a sulphide processing facility as well too. It's copper. We've done some drilling under the old open cut. You can see historic artisanal miners have just taken some surface high-grade oxide material. We've got some good intersections, up to 30 metres at 0.8% plus gold. It's the same story. Near neighbours, we won't be producing it. It's a great toll treatment story. It's a good cash flow story. So there are our 3 potential cash flow earners to fund our exploration moving forward. I'll get on towards one of our lead projects. This is the lead project within the Mount Freda complex up in Cloncurry. We like it a lot. And I'll just summarise what we've got underneath the pit and then our large Mount Freda complex as well too. And we can highlight that the 2k exploration targets. I've got 3,000 metres of drilling planned to kick off in the next month. Got some good targets. This has got some big ounces coming out of it. We've drilled underneath the Mount Freda pit, good grades of gold, but we've got cobalt as well too. And as I mentioned, there was a previous JORC resource done here in 04 guidelines in 09. Came up with a bit under 100,000 ounces, plus it had a 1 million tonne cobalt resource in the resource underneath this pit. As you can see, we've got high grade underneath the pit floor ready to go. We've got good intersections. We've done a fair bit of drilling. I think I've done 4,000 of RC and what does it say up there? And 1,000 metres diamond tails. I've got some consultants doing the modelling on this now. I envisage the minimum of indicated inferred. We should get some measured resources out of that as well too. So indicated inferred, I can get probable mining reserves, but it gets better. We've got some big extensions. We really like it. And don't forget the cobalt. We've got drill hole intersections with gold and cobalt, 1,000 ppm plus, 0.1 plus. This is a project just to the south of Mount Freda. Shame I haven't got the laser. You can see the Mount Freda open cut. This is to the southern end of our mining leases. And we've been exploring within there when we've identified this I've got this sample on our desktop in our podium. Please come and see me. Outcropping 30 grams gold, 30% copper, 1500 ppm cobalt in this outcropping material. We've identified there's a large shear zone, as you can see. It's a cobalt, copper, gold bearing shear zone. It's nearly a K long. Historic drilling, they got some good grades, a bit under 1000 ppm. We drilled it last year. We announced that we got some really good cobalt grades with copper and gold. You know, we've got 1000 ppm plus 2000 ppm cobalt. We're excited about it. We did some work. We looked around. We've got Sol Patterson's just to the south of us, just to the south of the evening star there. I haven't got the laser, sorry. They own a company called XCO. They identified a large IECG target and alteration system just below us. We agree with them. We believe it's there. We think it's the big fluid source for our Mount Freda complex. And I'll show you why next. Great. Okay. Bit hard to see scale-wise. You can see Mount Freda. You can see our cobalt shear zone at the south. I wanted to know if there was some geophysics I could use to correlate known mineralisation on the surface. We've got the open cut, and to give me some exploration targets. We run a SAM survey, sub-audio magnetics. A lot of people probably haven't heard about it, but they had a lot of success at Rocklands identifying conductive structures and EM, electromagnetic targets. We ran it. We got some great outcomes. It's over 2 Ks of conductive structures that correlate with gold on the surface. I'll show it to you. I can envisage multiple Mount Freda open cuts that correlate with the open cut. We've got 2 K strike length. We've got EM targets running north-south that correlate with high-grade copper and gold on the surface too. And retrospectively, we actually drilled this with a blast hole rig. Very cheap drilling. I bought it for 20 grand. A RAB rig can do about 18 metres, and we've been drilling non-stop. Correlates again, 8 metres at 3.5 grams for gold on surface. Intersections up to 12 grams. It's a big structure. We really like it. This is one of our 2 main focuses. So this is our Queensland Mount Isa inlier, multiple pits, big target, IOCG system. We're here for a couple of years. I've got 3,000 metres of drilling planned at these targets, kicking off next month. I don't think it's unreasonable to envisage multiple Mount Freda open cuts along that 2 kilometre strike length or longer, and I don't think it'd be unreasonable to envisage million ounce plus to shallow depths along that structure. That's quickly summarised. Oh no, there's our shear zone, our prospectivity in Cloncurry. I just want to highlight what else we got too. We picked up some very good ground, hadn't been touched for a long time. This is part of it. It had been tightly held for 20 years. And if you can just give everyone an example of the scale we've got the Mount Freda complex down the bottom. What I've highlighted up here is 2 plans of one of our major EPMs. How are we going time-wise? Okay, I'll quickly go through. Big targets. What I haven't highlighted, I just want to quickly run through. Give me a minute, I think we're a little bit behind. South Australia, G2 structural corridor. We've got 7,000 square kilometres of highly prospective ground around the Burra region. Why have we got so much? I'll get to it in a minute. We've got cobalt there. We've got over 2 Ks of cobalt. We've recently discovered it. We're going to be drilling it in 6 weeks. We've got super high grades on the surface, 2,000, 7,000 ppm on the surface. Great drill targets. We've got the budget, we've got the money. Look at similar peers who've got similar strike length mineralisation in cobalt. They might be a year or 2 above us. They're order of magnitude of 10 to 20 times our market caps. We've got some great potential outcropping on the surface. Why have we got so much ground? Geoscience Australia, through an AusLamp survey, I can explain what that is later on, did a survey through South Australia. They identified a big heat source. This image looks busy, but it's a big heat source at depth. It's a big structural target, conductive target below our ground. We've got all the ground. What does that mean? Actually, and I'll show the scale of that heat source. If that was overlaid on top of Melbourne and Sydney, that's a scale. It's huge. It's not an elephant, it's a monster. But what does it actually mean? Here's a similar survey they ran retrospectively underneath Olympic Dare in Carrapateena. Same AusLamp survey, same big heat source, very similar signature to what we've got underneath Burra. They did something that's called a MT magnetotelluric survey to tie it into some surface structures. They did that. They got beautiful conductive structures running up to Olympic Dam, Carrapateena, and Prominent Hill. So we have something very similar in Burra in Queensland. We've got the AusLamp survey underneath. We've got the University of South Australia going to conduct our MT survey. We believe we're going to identify similar pathways underneath. Okay, great. I think I've run through it. Talking too fast. Well, thank you. Thanks for listening. Please come and see us. We've got a lot of information. We've got a lot of data. I think we're a highly undervalued junior. Cheers.
Thanks, Matt.